now witnessing General Seti's Mega Mini, a short production with a whole lot of punch and power. Today we're going to be dealing with how lying Europeans recreated Egypt white. But before we get to the information, I want to let you know that you can become a member of the Sara, Seti YouTube page. All you have to do is go into the video description, hit the join link. You'll get an introduction video and run down on the membership. If you see one you like, join. We appreciate your presence. That's right. Ring the alarm, kingseti.com, online marketplace, official General Sara Seti DVD lectures, t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, African and Kemetic jewelry, holistic tonics and remedies, home decor. And we got, at this time, 25% off selected items. Get over there to kingseti.com. Get you something nice. That's right. Pull the fire alarm, generalseti.com, Seti University, over 1,000 videos on African history, heritage, spirituality, nation building, mental warfare, advanced African academics, developing the Black nation, one lesson at a time. The complete General Sara Seti website, generalseti.com, Seti University. You know, Seti be popping on Patreon, exclusive live streams for my patrons on Patreon. Got some fire over there, you know, titles that have never been seen anywhere else other than Patreon. Get over there now and check it out because it's fire. Make sure you subscribe to all my YouTube channels, General Seti, Sara Seti, King Seti. Rock that notification bell. Get a video a thumbs up. Like it because you love it. Share it with the family and friends. And comment. All right, family. Peace. Now let's get back to the topic at hand. How lying Europeans recreated Egypt white. Now, number one, what we have to understand is how to do research. Now, once you understand that, then you can begin to shed the lies. You see, as you move throughout, history, doing your research, doing your studies. You got to have a system of rules and regulations. You understand that it keep you to the primary information. You see that it keep you closest to the truth when you're doing your research. If you're going to just study without no rules and regulations, you're going to be all over the place. And so when we look at these carvings behind us, you're looking at primary sources. What do I mean by primary sources? These statues and carvings were created at the time of ancient Egypt. These are not recreations. These are not reconstructions. These is primary sources, and that's significant. And no matter how much you believe in science today, science can never trump a primary source. Carbon dating cannot trump primary sources. So if you looking at a carving or a statue from the time of ancient Egypt, I don't give a goddamn what the DNA say. I don't give a goddamn what carbon dating says. It cannot trump someone who's looking directly at that person and carve sculpture, the individual as they see him, primary source, eyewitness. No science can trump that. You understand what I'm saying? So you always go with the primary source, that which was created during the time of ancient Egypt. Okay, that's going to be closest to the truth as possible that you could ever get to. Okay, and so those who are not, they upset with the fact that they may not look European, they're going to trump the primary source with their own recreations. And we got to understand that. But we cannot allow that to happen. And so when you're looking at Greco-Roman statues, number one, let's look at this. See, when you are trying to, as an artist, and we'll get into that, when you look at the Greeks and Romans, when you look at their statues, the majority of the time they use limestone and marble. Why? Because it's white. It's white. Even when you look at their structures, when you look at their temples, You see, they use that limestone and they use a marble and things of that nature. You see? And so, people want to look as close to possible as they appear. They don't want green stones or purple stones. And so what would make a Greek go get a brown stone or a black stone to carve statue? Now, they will do it, but that's an abstract. You understand what I'm saying? That's in the minority, but it's not the majority. You see, and so they'll do it for an abstract reason. You understand what I'm saying? But they're not going to do it the majority of the time. The majority of the time, people want to look exactly how they look. So if they white, they want to use stones that are white. If a person is brown, they want to use a material that is brown. That's just like if an artist is drawing, they're going to try to get as close to the skin tone of an individual as possible. Nobody's going to pay you for a goddamn drawing and you use a shade damn near 4 or 5 times lighter or 4 or 5 times darker. You understand what I'm saying? Now, every blue moon, it can be done for an abstract reason. You see, but that's an obscure drawing. That's an obscure carving. But it won't be done the majority of the time. The majority of the time, people want to look exactly how they look. So when you look at, again, you look at the Greeks and the Romans, they use white. Now, if the Egyptians was white, okay, if they were white, if they were Caucasians, then we would assume that they would fall in line just like the Greeks and the Romans. Have you ever seen the Greeks and the Romans use dark brown or black in the majority of their statues, in the majority of their carvings? No, you have never seen that. You have never seen any, I say find me any Caucasian race that use brown or black as the majority or the standard, the standard of, almost automatic. You see, an automatic standard that the majority of most Egyptian statues are brown and black. Majority brown and black. So we must put that in there too, and black. And so we establish that majority of the time, even when you go into the British and the French, and when you see the British, they carve and you know what I'm saying? Now they will use, now you can go out here and they use statues today that they might use a different stone, but you can still see that they're white. Their features are white. So it's still, even though they might use a different stone, they're not going to change the features. Okay? And so when you look here, it is obvious that the characteristics of the ancient Egyptians are not to white people's likings because they couldn't accept them as they were. So they had to change them. You see, they had to change them. Now, let me tell you something. The one to the right is a primary creation. That means the artist was looking directly at him when he created that statue. And you can never trump a primary source. Okay? No way. And we're going to deal with in later videos how artists, they get paid for being as close to what a person looked like as possible. You see, they pride themselves in being almost exact in all details. You see, sometimes an artist in a drawing can show, characteristics of an individual that a photo won't even show. You see, and so they can get so detailed. You understand? To show, wrinkles and moles and everything, even, that, even won't show up on the photo. So they pride themselves in being exact. It is no way that an artist, especially from a classical civilization such as Egypt, would have looked at Tutankhamun and he saw the one on the left and carve what you see on the right. That's impossible. That's impossible. Only somebody in with a mental illness would believe something like that. You see? And so what we're looking at here, now I want y'all to look at something. Because this is Greco-Roman recreations. You see? Now, I want you to study, because only in Egypt where you find where they can't accept what is shown by the primary artist, they have to recreate it and go into the computer and this, that, and the third and recreate something totally opposite of what the ancient artists produced. Why is that? Why can't they accept it as the primary artists who were looking directly at the individual and created what they saw? They don't do that with Greco-Roman reconstructions. You see to the left, you see a statue. You see, and this is supposed to be, I looked it up, reconstruction of Greek, Romans, and Europeans did this. And you can see, why is the reconstruction almost a carbon copy of the original? They don't do the Greco-Roman statues like that. When they make a recreation, it look damn near exact. Why do they go and take from ancient Egypt and recreate something totally different than what the primary artists and sculptors of the ancient times saw and created? Why is it something totally different? You see? And so you mean to tell me that these artists saw this on the left and created what they, what was created on the right? Man, no artist, no artist of no civilization of note. That's a F. That's a failure. You understand what I'm saying? And that's a very beautiful statue of Tutankhamun, I must add. You see what I'm saying? And so don't get it twisted. So you see how they use the wood. See that brown wood? That's exactly what I'm talking about. How they use materials as close, you understand what I'm saying, to the skin tone of the individual. And when you look at, this is supposed to be Alexander. You know why? Why is the reconstruction almost a carbon copy of the original? They already have the Caucasian model that they want, so there's no need to change it. You see, they already had the Caucasian model that they want, so there's no need to change it. So when they make a recreation, it's exact. But because they're trying to recreate Egypt white, they have to totally go against all known statues in Egypt. When they make a recreation, bleach the melanin, take the hair out. You see, why isn't there any changes? Now, this is supposed to be Homer. Why isn't there any changes in the texture of hair? You see, they don't change the texture of the hair. You see, why isn't there any changes in the skin tone? You see? And so if the Egyptians was Caucasian, we expect that their statues would look as similar to the Greeks and Romans as possible. Not true. Not true. And so this right here, I believe, was Caesar, Octavius, one of them. They don't go reconstructing Greeks and Roman statues. Why? Because they look like them. You see, they already look like them. Oh, see, now you see how they got the reconstruction here. They got the reconstruction and they got the old statue, and they merge them together to show you how exact the reconstruction is. Now I tell you what, try to take the reconstruction of Tut, the new and the old, and merge them together and see what you get. You see, you will have a damn Frankenstein is what you will have. You see, they're totally different. There's no way you can merge that. So why do they pride themselves in their recreations to merge it so that it's almost exactly alike, which most artists gonna do? Any artist in any great civilization, they pride themselves in recreating artistry almost identical to the individual that they're carving or they're drawing. That's the pride of an artist. That's the pride of a sculptor, to be almost exact, almost identical to the image in which, or the individual in which they're drawing. You see, this is Hadrian. They even took, the recreation and again merged it onto the statue. Could you do this with the recreation of Tut, this created creature, this Serapis to the left? Could you take his eye and put it over there and get the same effect as they did right here with Hadrian? No, you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. So this shows you that they are recreating. And what I want you to get out of this is, number one, primary sources. Matter of fact, do I got that in there? I thought I had dropped it in there. Matter of fact, let me get it. Primary source. I'll read it off. What are primary sources? Primary sources are the raw materials of history, original documents and objects that were created at the time under study. They are different from secondary sources, accounts that retell, analyze, or interpret events, usually at a distance of time or place. Do you understand that? What are primary sources? Primary sources are the raw materials of history, original documents and objects that were created at the time under study. They are different from secondary sources, accounts that retell, analyze, reconstruct, deconstruct, or interpret events or reinterpret events, usually at a distance of time or place. So when you see, so what does that say? Let's get right to it. You see, let me get right back here. So what you looking at, the reconstruction, see, that's not a primary source. The one to the right is a primary source. A secondary line ass source could never trump, you see, a primary source. A secondary source can never trump a primary source, man. Do you understand that? So no matter whether they say it's scientific, whether it don't make no difference, it's not from the time period in which we discuss. You see, if you saw me live today and you drew me, and then somebody come 5,000 years out who never seen me, or they did see me and say I look like Tut, and then the original, and then they come and recreate my ass. You see what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about. I didn't have a lot of family draw me. You see what I'm saying? And it looked pretty close to what I look like. You see what I'm saying? They looking dead at me. You see? And so that's a primary source. Nobody from 5,000, I don't give a fuck what science they say they got. That's magic. Anytime you think you can go back in history and trump the people of that time in their own time, you can trump them. That you got a better analyzation of what's going on than they do in the very time in which they live, something is wrong with you. You are out your goddamn mind. Is what's wrong with you. Think you got a time machine. And that's the only thing that no goddamn DNA test, no goddamn science, or none of that can trump primary sources. So again, unless you got a time machine that you can go back in goddamn time, and you still got to come back with a primary, and if you went back in time, goddamn it, you could only come back what was produced any goddamn way. You can't bring nothing back but what was produced. So what you see right now is from that time in ancient Egypt. And if you went back in that time, those very statues behind me would be the ones you would bring back. So you cannot do no better than that. They are recreating Egypt white based on their own racist subjectivity. This is General Sara Seti. This is a mega mini, short, but packing a whole lot of punch. Stay tuned for the next episode and the next presentation. Black Power.